The number one reason she lost attraction for you, you failed this test and you didn't even know it. We're going live.
No. We'll do it live.
This is the Come On Man podcast. And here's your host, Paul Bauer.
It's hump day again, gentlemen. How the hell are you? Nurse Chick's up this week, so every day's hump day, if you know what I mean. Speaking of Nurse Chick, she got me this mug here, my professional podcaster, Sadie McGrady. I really appreciate this. McGrady's spirit still sitting right here next to me. She has to be in the same room. All right, guys, if you are new to the channel, my name is Paul Bauer, and I help men level up and get better with women. And the funny thing about doing that is that when we level up and get better with women, it tends to make us better men in all areas of our lives. Let me ask you this. You ever felt like your woman's respect for you just vanished overnight? One day, she's all over you, and the next day, she's cold, distant, and uninterested. You try harder, but nothing works. Sound familiar? Here's the brutal truth. Women are wired to test men emotionally, and most guys fail without even realizing it. When you react the wrong way, right? When you react the wrong way, whether it's anger, neediness, or defensiveness, you lose frame, and with it, her respect. And once that respect is God bless. And once that respect is gone, attraction follows right behind it. But here's the good news. If you know how to handle these moments the right way, you can flip the script, regain control, and make her see you as the dominant, unshakable man that she craves. Today, I'm breaking down the top emotional resilience mistakes men make and how to fix them so you can lead, attract, and keep her hooked long term. Let's get into it. But before we do, we are going over chapter 8 in my book, Get Her to F You Again. We can't say it out loud because we're not at the 8-minute mark. But chapter 8, it's all about emotional resilience and frame control. If you guys have been following along for the last 10 weeks on Fridays, we've been really going in depth on emotional durability and frame and stuff like that because we were going over AJ's book, Psychology Emotion. But I have a chapter in Get Her to F You Again about that too. Like if you are really trying to turn your marriage around, if you're in a relatively okay marriage, but it could be better, like this book is for you. Okay. It's an all-encompassing guide, and it includes a lot of this stuff, a lot of information about how to maintain frame control, and stuff like that, right? How to develop frame control in the first place. A lot of that is rewiring your mindset, rewiring your subconscious mind, which I talk about in my second book, Psychology Paradigm, but it's included in this book too. Okay. I wanted to write a book that a guy can go through, right? One book that a guy could go through and turn his marriage around. And this is the book. Okay. If you're having marriage problems, Get Her to F You Again. That's the book for you. So today we're going over chapter 8. It's all about emotional resilience and frame control. And we'll get to that. But first, do be sure to like, subscribe, hit those notifications. I do have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday without fail. There's a bunch of guys watching right now. If you guys are watching live, sound off in the chat. I want to hear from you. Okay. Your favorite emoji, doesn't matter. If you guys are in beer club, drop a little beer mug emoji or something. I don't know. And then do consider sending super chats. I mentioned on Monday's episode how on Saturday I was hosting Rule Zero and someone sent the $30 super chat money. So I had to play the $30 super chat, which, as you guys know, it's for you dirty foot fetish guys, right? Jack Napier is having PTSD over it. Yeah, he commented about it yesterday in a group that I'm in, and I'm like, oh man, you're still not over that yet? Like he's scarred for life. He's scarred for life. He is definitely not a foot fetish guy. Ryan Stone's reaction for that was priceless, though. That was if someone screenshotted that would be That would be funny. All right, guys. You don't have to send $30 super chats, okay? But do consider, if you find value in these episodes, do consider sending a couple bucks or something like that. That helps support the show. All right. So the first concept in chapter 8 is maintaining frame in relationships, right? So frame, what is frame, right? Frame, essentially, it's your reality. It's how you see the world. A lot of people think that reality is the same for everybody. It's not. It's not the same. Your reality is different from my reality. And our reality is constructed in our minds, how we perceive the world, right? Two people can look at the same situation and look at it completely differently. Case in point, if you are more right-leaning, you might look at what Elon Musk and Doge are doing as a good thing. You're like, hey, they're cutting out all this government bloat, all this wasteful spending. This is a good thing for the American people. Like, we don't have to spend our tax dollars on all this stuff. Maybe we can actually get a reduction in taxes, because if we're not paying for all these things, there's no reason to tax us so much, right? That might seem like a good thing to you. But if you are more left-leaning and you hate the president, you hate Elon Musk because he now works with the president, you might look at all that kind of stuff as a bad thing. You know what I mean? Like, reality is subjective, and it all takes place in our mind. And that is your frame. Okay. Frame is your, like, how you see the world. Okay. And losing it allows others to dictate your emotions and actions. Right. If you are finding yourself in a position where someone's actions, what they say, what they're doing, impacts you emotionally, you're falling into their frame, right? But if you have good frame control, it doesn't matter what other people are doing. You're going to live your life how you live your life. Nothing really impacts you because you've developed your own worldview and you're like, this is my reality. I don't care what other people are doing. You know what I mean? A good example of that too is like when you're on the dating circuit, and a lot of guys get caught up in looking at statistics on, dating app statistics, right? Oh, well, the 100% of the women on dating apps are going for the top 5% of guys on dating apps. Like, why should I even try? Right. Whereas, like, I look at it going, okay, well, how do I get in the top 5% of guys on dating apps and have success with it? And it's like, it's actually not that even that hard to do. There's a method to the madness, and you just do it. And now you're getting dates and stuff. It's like, it's not that dating apps are hard. It's just that I have a different reality when it comes to dating apps than you do, right? The dating app is neutral. It's neutral in that regards. So a man who maintains frame remains in control, ensuring his leadership role in the relationship. Okay. He's always the guy. A great example of this is a guy in Beer Club. He recently got into an exclusive relationship with a gal, and his work is just really hectic this week. He's working like 17-hour days. He needs time to like mentally decompress. And so he doesn't want to see her this week. He's going to see her this weekend, but he wants this week to himself so he can unwind. He doesn't want to see her. And we all know that when a woman really likes you, she wants your attention all the effing time, right? Well, he was feeling bad for wanting to tell her, hey, I can't see you this week, but I'll see you on Saturday. He was worried about losing her, right? He was worried about upsetting her. And I was like, you got to change your frame on that. She needs to be worried about upsetting you. She needs to be worried about losing you. You set the tone, you lead. If you don't want to see her this week because you need a break, just tell her, I can't see you this week, but I'm happy to see you this weekend, right? That's frame. Right? When you look at your relationship, like, I'm the leader, I set the tone, I lead. You don't worry about if she gets upset with your boundaries or what you're telling her. Like, you're telling her, like, hey, if she gets mad, that's on her. That's not on you. And it's not your job to make her happy all the time and dance around. Do you understand? So a man who maintains frame remains in control, ensuring his leadership role in the relationship. She'll actually respect you more if you do that. Okay. But if you say, hey, I can't see you this week, and then she uses some kind of guilt trip manipulation technique, and you go, oh, okay, I'll see you on Wednesday. And then you're really regretting it because you're tired and you can't actually be there and be fully present with her. And now you're kind of mad at her about it. That's because you fell into her frame. She was able to manipulate you into seeing you this week and to bypass your boundary. And now she's going to lose respect for you. That's just one little chip away at her respect for you. Okay. So you have to stand your ground with that kind of stuff. And having the confidence to do that comes with having good mental frame. Okay. Losing frame shifts the power dynamic, leading to a loss of respect and attraction, right? If you fall into her frame, you start following her lead. She doesn't want to be there in the first place. Okay. She starts losing respect for you. If she's able to manipulate you and get you to do everything she wants you to do, and you start becoming her do boy, attraction erodes. Attraction absolutely erodes there. So if you don't do that, if you're able to tell her no, if you're able to handle her tests, if you're able to not emotionally react and get upset when she starts throwing a tantrum and stuff, and you're able to be cool and calm and be like, yeah, you're really cute right now. You're really cute when you're upset, right? And you're not rattled by her behavior. In the moment, it might feel uncomfortable, right? She's making a big scene, but in the long run, like 30 minutes later, an hour later, a week later, a day later, it doesn't matter. She's going to have more respect for you. She's going to love you more because you didn't budge. You understand? Emotional resilience as a leadership trait. So women need to see a man who can handle adversity without crumbling emotionally. Okay. A lot of the reasons why women do their shit tests, a lot of the reason why they push back and they push your buttons, they want to see how you'll react, right? Are you going to react with anger? Are you going to yell at her? Are you going to dress her down? Are you going to say, don't disrespect me, bitch, right? Like, are you going to do that? Or can you handle it in a calm, effective manner where she's like, okay, if there's an earthquake, like I'm going to be safe because he's going to know what to do. He's going to be like, stay calm under pressure because he like the dangerous situations come in. He's going to be level-headed and he's going to be able to make good decisions and protect me and the family. Like that's going to make her more safe and secure. But if you easily get rattled, if you easily get upset, if you easily crumble and start crying in adversity, she's going to lose respect for you and realize like, hey man, this guy has no emotional control at all. You know what I mean? Oh, but I thought women want more sensitive guys. They want guys to be more sensitive. No, they don't. No, they don't. Women don't care about your feelings, bro. They don't. They want to hear, like, if they want you to be more emotionally vulnerable and all that kind of stuff, they don't want that. They don't want you to be more emotional. What they want is you to basically repeat back whatever they're feeling to them. And then they're like, oh yeah, this guy, he's the guy. He gets me. Emotional resilience creates a sense of security, making a man more attractive, right? If you're a cool cucumber under pressure, and she knows that you'll handle things when things get tough, she's going to feel more safe and secure in the relationship. She's going to want to follow your lead more. She's going to want to support your mission more. She's going to have more respect for you. Self-mastery and discipline are key to developing emotional resilience. Self-mastery and discipline. A lot of that comes down to awareness too, right? A lot of us don't even realize how we react. A lot of us don't even realize how we're easily triggered and we just sort of knee-jerk reaction to certain things. And a lot of that comes down to awareness, right? That's where like the self-mastery and discipline comes in. That's where like you start really being aware of it. You start really listening for what women say and do, and you sort of start looking at it more like everything's a shit test, right? Everything's a shit test. Don't take it so seriously. And then you get the discipline comes with practice where you're just like, I'm always going to be this way, right? And every once in a while you're going to slip. Okay, none of us are perfect. Some of us are going to slip, and in that moment you just don't beat yourself up over it. You're like, okay, I slipped. I got a little mad. I let my emotions get the best of me. I'm going to do better going forward, right? And that it's just doing that more and more over time. You'll have less and less slips, less and less problems. You'll just get better over time. You just got to realize it's not an overnight process. You can't undo 20, 30, 40 years of programming in a couple of weeks. You just can't do it. Okay. It requires discipline, constant practice, constant awareness, always working on yourself. All right, guys, follow me on social media. The links are in the description. I'm on all the good platforms, and including some of the not so good platforms. I don't know what's going to. I'm going to start doing I talked to my friend Rudy from Root Advice Podcasts. He's convincing me I need to do more TikTok lives. So I'm going to try to do TikTok lives on like Tuesday and Thursday morning. And I was telling one of my coaches about that yesterday. And so they're holding me to it. So if you guys are on TikTok, I'm going to start doing lives in the morning around this time. Cause right now I do lives on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on YouTube. And so I'll start doing around the same time. There's going to be some mornings that I won't be able to do it because like I have coaching calls, but I'll either bump it up 30 minutes or whatever. But follow me on TikTok if you want to start joining those lives, because those are going to be free coaching sessions, right? Like if you have a problem in your marriage and you want to ask a simple question, like specific to your situation, like that'll be good for that. Guys, get on the email list.comeonmanpod.com and get the ebook, She's Made You Weak, which is all about the betatization process and how attraction erodes over time. If you don't know what that process is, you're going to fall victim to it. You're not even going to realize it. And women do this subconsciously to us, and it just erodes their relationship over time. They don't mean to do it. Like they don't want to win. They don't want to win here. But if a guy doesn't know what's happening, he's going to just react in a way that's going to cause that relationship to go downhill. And he's not even going to know that it's happening. Okay. So you've got to learn how to defend against the dark arts. Get the free ebook, get on the email list, go to list.comeonmanpod.com. And I'll also mail you some free stickers. But if you don't want the stickers, just put don't want stickers in the address field. I won't waste a stamp on you. And then guys, all my books are available at books.comeonmanpod.com, that will redirect you to my Amazon authors page. You can get all 3 of my books. Everything I Wish I Knew When I Was 18, Psychology Paradigm, and Get Her to F You Again, which is what we're talking about today. Let me play a commercial for Get Her to F You Again. Oh, we can say it. Get Her to Fuck You Again. We're past the 8-minute mark. We'll play a commercial for that, and then we'll get back to the topic.
Are you tired of the dead bedroom? Wondering what happened to the passion, the connection, and the spark? Well, here's your answer. Introducing Get Her to Fuck You Again, a red pill guide to fix a dead bedroom, now on Amazon. This isn't about manipulation or tricks. It's about real strategies that work. If your wife has stopped being intimate with you, it's not because the love is gone. It's because the attraction is gone. And that's fixable. This book will teach you the skills to lead your marriage, rebuild your confidence, and become the man she can't stop thinking about. 3 reasons to get this book. 1. It breaks the cycle. You'll learn how to stop doing the same things that are killing her attraction and start doing the things that reignite it. 2. It's practical and proven. With clear, actionable steps, you'll build yourself into the man you were always meant to be. 3. It works for men like you. Paul Bauer has helped hundreds of men just like you fix their dead bedrooms. And now, it's your turn. Don't let another day go by feeling frustrated and disconnected. Go to Amazon right now and buy Get Her to Fuck You Again. Read it, apply it, and watch your marriage transform. The connection isn't gone forever. You just need the roadmap to get it back. And this book is it.
Oh man, we've got 77 reviews on Amazon, which is pretty good. This guy, John Fennell, says, what I liked about this book is the straightforward approach to finding the root cause of a man's ability to reclaim the intimacy in his marriage, a practical step-by-step guide that is easy to understand and well-written. Some of the topics covered are leadership roles and how they affect marriage, how to improve communication, the core of decision-making, and the question, is she worth it? This is about as good a book as it can be. Hits the point directly and honestly. If your relationship is at this stage, buy a copy and start working on it. Well done and highly recommend. Thank you for that. That was a damn good review, John. Jeff Lombardo says, Passionate, a great book to have to rekindle the flame under the sheets. And Gluto Seraphim, that's an interesting name. He says, interesting is the word. Interesting. You end up learning a few things from this. Yes. So go check that out. If you guys are review whores, you guys have to read all the reviews before buying a book. Go check out some of those reviews. They're pretty good. All right. We've got some people in the chat today. Nurse Chick's in the house. She says, good morning, gentlemen. Happy hump day. Nurse Chick gets this one.
So naughty.
She really is.
I'm going to come.
Well, I will. Don't worry about that. John Egan's in the house. Hey, what's up, John? What's going on? Kamal's in the house. The foot fetish video is actually a hidden shit test. CW says, that's so dirty. So dirty. Yes, indeed. Phil Bradley's in the house. He says, hoorah. Yesterday, speaking of the foot fetish guys, man, foot fetish guys are so weird, man. They're so weird. I have a video that's just hit 1 million views, 1 million views on Instagram. And that's what we were talking about on Rule Zero on Saturday. And it's Taylor Swift standing there. And then a tweet I put out comes up and it says, Taylor Swift has 600 songs about men leaving her and 0 songs about blowjobs, right? Well, some guy, of course, yesterday goes, she doesn't have any songs about foot jobs either, shaking my head. And so I put that on my story to put that guy on blast. I was like, I found the foot fetish guy. Foot fetish guys have no shame. And that's why it's a $30 super chat video, because like if they really want to see those grippers, they're going to pay $30 for that. Or if they're in beer club, if they're beer club foot fetish guys, they're going to pay $20 for it. Oh man. All right. The next concept is handling emotional shit tests handling emotional tests or shit tests, right? So women, a lot of guys, I get this a lot, right? So much that I probably talk about it too much. Guys will say on social media, if I have a video about testing, they'll be like, oh, fuck that. Women playing games and all this kind of stuff. Fuck that. I'm ditching them, right? I'm not going to be with a woman that does that to me. I'm like, okay, but all women test men, either consciously or subconsciously. You can't avoid it. Some test more than others, but they're all testing. And you only fail it, right? It's only a test if you fail it. Okay. It's only a test if you fail it. If you learn how to handle her test, you really understand what women are doing. You understand womanese, as it were. Like, it's not a test because you just handle it effortlessly and it's not a big deal. If you handle it like she's just like, oh yeah, he handled it well. Like she's just like, she just feels safe and secure and she doesn't know why, right? A lot of this is subconscious programming. This is all evolutionary psychology. She doesn't even know why she's doing it. Okay. But it's a part of her evolutionary wiring to want a man that can handle shit, right? He has a shit together. That's why she shit tests you to see if you can handle it, right? So women test men unconsciously to gauge their emotional strength, right? Can I rattle this guy? Can I knock him off center? Can I get him upset? Can I push his buttons till the point that he's blowing up at me, right? And I know what that's like because my ex-wife used to do it to me incessantly and I had no idea how to handle that stuff. And I would literally get pissed at her and I would blow up at her. Like I would scream at the top of my lungs, yelling at her, right? Like I was that guy. I was a really bad tempered yelling type guy. And we would get in these really bad fights. Okay. And it wasn't until much later where I've learned how to have a little bit more emotional control. I've learned how to have a little bit more emotional resilience and durability. I've learned how to see what women say for what it is and not as like an insult and take personal, take it personally and get all mad and stuff like that. I just don't give a shit, right? My mental frame is I'm going to do me, right? Like my happiness comes from me. My attitude comes from me. I'm in full control of my emotions. All right. She doesn't dictate my emotions, right? Once you can get there, you'll find that passing these types of tests is really easy. You know what I mean? So failing these tests by reacting emotionally, it weakens a man's standing in the relationship. Okay. The more you do it, the more her respect erodes, the more she knows that I can manipulate this guy. I can knock him off center. He has no emotional control. Like, the more her attraction erodes over time. Okay. So how do you pass these tests? Well, there's lots of different ways, but you can pass them with humor, with indifference, calm leadership, all that kind of stuff, right? Two of the best tools in your toolbox when it comes to handling a woman's shit test is act indifferent, right? You just act like it doesn't bother you, whatever she's doing, it doesn't bother you. Okay. It's not that you don't care what she says, you don't care what she's doing, you're just not bothered by it. You understand? We're going to get into that more here in a little bit. And then agree and amplify. And agree and amplify is actually my favorite. It's my favorite. And I've noticed coaching husbands, right? Coaching husbands in the Fixed Dead Bedroom program, agree and amplify is really hard for some guys. Really hard, right? Because in order to do agree and amplify well, you have to be quick-witted. You have to be able to think quickly on your feet. You think of a guy who, when you insult him, he rattles back a really good zinger back at you, right? A guy who can do that, that's really good at improv and thinking on his feet. A guy like that is really good at agree and amplify, because basically what you're doing is you're taking whatever they say, you agree with it, and then you take it up a notch to an absurd level and make it into a joke, right? You're almost like throw it back at them as if it's like a playful tease type thing, right? And so what I found coaching these guys is that they have a hard time with it. Like they're pretty good at just defaulting to indifference, which is okay. That's a good way of handling it. It's better than losing your shit and yelling at her, right? But what's good about agree and amplify is that it turns into playful banter. And that playful banter is fun and attractive. It actually makes you fun to be around when you can do agree and amplify and make a joke out of it. You ever hear how women love guys with a sense of humor? Being able to agree and amplify shows that sense of humor and that you're playful, and women love that. They love that banter. Okay. That's flirting. That's how they end up flirting with you and stuff, right? So if you're trying to get your wife to fuck you again, it behooves you to learn how to be quick on your feet. There's lots of videos out there that can help you with that. One of the things that I have my clients do, if they're having a hard time with that, is practice word association drills, right? That's where you give yourself a word, let's say apple, and the first thing that comes to your word or comes to your mind when you say that word apple, you just rattle it off, right? Like red, and then pickup truck, fire engine, like fireplace, right? And you just start saying random words that come to your mind that are related to the previous word. Okay. Do that for like 10, 15 minutes a day. Just give yourself a word and then just rattle off words that are related to the previous word. That'll help you get quicker on your feet. That'll help you get better with stuff like agree and amplify. One of my clients, he's pretty tech savvy. He asked me, he's like, what's a ChatGPT prompt that I could put in there to practice word association? And I was like, I've never used ChatGPT for that. And I said, what I would probably tell ChatGPT is, hey, I want to practice word association, so give me a random word, right? And ChatGPT will just spit out a word for you. And then now you can just rattle off, for the next 10 minutes or whatever, 5 or 10 minutes, related words and get better at being quicker on your feet, right? All right, cool. But yeah, that agree and amplify really goes hand in hand with the 3 T's, right? Tease, touch, and tell. That teasing, that playful banter, that boosts sexual tension and attraction, creates heat, healthy emotional anticipation and tension. The power of emotional regulation. So controlling emotions doesn't mean suppressing them. It means mastering your reactions. Okay. That's a good way of handling stuff, especially if like you can feel it bubbling inside, like you're getting pissed, is using something like the 3-second rule. Just take 3 seconds to think about what you're going to say before you're going to say it, right? And just be like, is this going to come across like I'm butthurt? Right? if it's going to come across, if I'm going to say this, it's going to come across like a butt hurt. That's going to, I'm going to fail this test, right? I'm not in control of my emotions. So maybe let me reword that, so that I'm not reacting from emotions. Sometimes if you are at a place where you can't figure that out yet, right? What to say when you're getting mad, it's best to just not say anything, right? Like think about what your mom used to say. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. And I've done that. I was having a conversation with a guy I work with a couple of weeks ago, and he was saying something that was, it was upsetting, but he wasn't wrong either. You know what I mean? Like, and it was about like my team, and and so I didn't have anything to say, and I also, I really actively try not to go into Deering mode and try to defend, explain, excuse, rationalize, because that doesn't help you in any situation. And so he was telling me all this stuff. And so I was just sitting there processing it. I didn't say anything, because I knew if I opened my mouth at that moment, I'd probably say the wrong thing. So I just sat there and just listened. And he was like, "Did I lose you? Like, are you still there?" And I'm like, "No, I'm still here." That's all I said. "No, I'm still here." Right. But if you don't have anything good to say, if anything you say is not going to help the situation, sometimes it's better to just shut the fuck up. Right. Deep breathing and pausing before responding can prevent emotional outbursts, right? That's where the 3-second rule kind of comes in. Like if your gut reaction is to blast her, she says something that kind of pisses you off, and like your gut reaction is to just blow up at her and yell at her. Just take a deep breath. Just take a deep breath and pause and really think about what you're going to say. Okay. Because you blowing up at her is not going to fix the situation. Might make you feel good in the moment, but it's going to fuck things up down the road. It's not going to help you. Okay. But I've got to check a bitch. I was watching Fresh and Fit, and they said, you got to check a bitch. No. Stop watching shows like that. Developing mental detachment helps maintain composure in heated situations. This is sort of goes hand in hand with one of the things that I like to tell guys to do. If you're in a long-term relationship, it helps to be lovingly detached in your relationship. What do I mean by that? It doesn't mean that you don't love your girl. It doesn't mean that you don't value her, but being lovingly detached allows you to step back and observe the relationship as a third party. It allows you to be cognizant of what's happening in the relationship. Is she being cold? Is she avoiding me? Is she being distant? Like all this kind of stuff. Because what tends to happen is guys get their love goggles on, they get their wife goggles on, and they don't notice all this stuff. They don't notice all the signs pointing to their relationship eroding until it's like way too late, right? Most guys, by the time they call me and they book a call with me, it's because they've let things slide for years, thinking that things are just going to turn around on their own. They don't just turn around on their own. Okay. And you don't even notice it until years go by. And all of a sudden your wife is just acting so horribly that it's unavoidable anymore. Right. And then you're like, what happened? I don't get it. Right. Or she files for divorce and you're like, what the hell happened? I thought we were happy. I thought everything was good. And it hasn't been good in years. You know what I mean? But if you're lovingly detached, you can recognize these signs and course correct. Like one of the things that Corey Wayne talks about in 3% Man, he learned this from Doc Love, but there's a scale of attraction, and women have to be on a scale of 1 to 10. They have to be above a 5 on the attraction scale in order to want to be with you and date you and stuff like that. Right. And the ideal is to get her and keep her at a 9 or a 10 level, because that's where she's madly in love with you. That's when she comes home and she wants to jump into your arms and she wants to make out with you, and she's always trying to touch your dick and all that kind of stuff. You want to keep her there, right? But if you're not paying attention to how she's acting, what's bothering her, all that kind of stuff, her attraction starts eroding over time. And the more that you fail these tests, the more that you don't show emotional durability, the more that attraction fades over time until it's below a 5. Once it's below a 5, you're donezo. You're donezo. Okay. a woman won't be with a guy who she's not attracted to. And all that loss of respect causes that attraction to fade over time. So you got to be lovingly detached enough to be able to watch what she's doing, watch how the relationship is going, and then act accordingly. When you notice that, oh man, she's got to be down in the, the 5 or 6 range now. Like, I better turn this shit around before it's too late. You know what I mean? Hopefully you never let it get down that far. Right. But a lot of guys don't realize that. They don't know what they don't know. You know what I'm talking about. All right, guys. A lot of guys in the chat are in my beer club, beer.comeonmanpod.com. It's a great group of guys. It's for men only. It's for men to get together and swap notes, support each other, hold each other accountable, all that kind of stuff. We've had a lot of guys in there they've lost considerable amounts of weight. We've got guys in there that are killing it on the dating circuit. We've got guys out there that are in long-term relationships. Their relationships are just flourishing because they are taking what we're learning on the podcasts and applying it in their daily lives. And when guys have struggles about it, they ask questions in the group. There's like 50 guys in there that have all been where you've been. And they will tell you, hey, this worked for me. This worked. Try this out. Right. And guys are just killing it in there. If you're not in beer club and you're struggling in life, struggling in your relationships, it's only $10 a month. And it will help you get to that next level. They say that we're the product of our 5 closest friends. And if all your friends are all losers and they're holding you back in life, get with some guys that are working on leveling up and you will start leveling up too. I promise you. Okay. It's only $10 a month. Beer.comeonmanpod.com for that. It's also in the description. And then guys, if you need help with what we're talking about today, working on your emotional durability, working on handling shit tests, working on maintaining frame in a relationship, and you are struggling with that, stop struggling. Okay. Stop struggling. You don't have to do this alone. Book a free call with me. Go to call.fixeddeadbedrooms.com and let's see if working together makes sense. And if it does, let's do it. Okay. You don't have to do this alone. Guys that are serious about fixing their relationship problems, put some investment in themselves. And so this is one way you can do that. So take action. It's a free call. Okay. Go to call.fixeddeadbedrooms.com. All right. What's everyone saying in the chat? We have a lot of guys here in the chat. Let's see. Well, none of them are super chats, so I can't see them. The role of indifference in attraction. The role of indifference in attraction. So one of the things that I learned, and this is where I learned the concept of indifference. I learned it from Coach Corey Wayne in How to Be a 3% Man. If you guys haven't read that book, I highly recommend it. I have my own beefs with Coach Corey Wayne. He doesn't like to do podcasts, and it's unfortunate, although he has been on other people's podcasts before, but it's really rare. So that bothers me. He also blocked me on Instagram once, which is funny. But that being said, I don't hold a grudge. His book is still good, and I highly recommend it. And one of the things that he says is indifference makes a difference. In fact, if you read Get Her to Fuck You Again, I talk about how indifference makes a difference 1,000 times in the book. And the reason why I do that, a lot of that kind of stuff is repetitive. That repetition seeps into your subconscious mind and becomes a habit. And I want you to always be thinking that, right? Indifference makes a difference. So the role of indifference in attraction. Indifference doesn't mean not caring. It doesn't mean like not giving a shit about your wife or your girlfriend. Okay. It doesn't mean that. It means not being emotionally dependent on her reactions. Okay. A lot of guys, if their wife is cold, if she's distant, if she's moody, they are like, okay, I got to make her happy now. I'm just trying to make her happy. What can I do to make her happy? It's not your job. It's not your job. Isn't to make her happy. What? I thought happy wife, happy life. That's bullshit. It's not your job to make her happy. Okay. What will actually make her happy is being the leader, being dominant, being assertive, maintaining your emotional frame, like all that kind of stuff will eventually make her more happy. And by happy, I mean, feel safe and secure. She's never going to truly be happy because women are never truly happy right? They're emotional beings, and like they could be happy in one moment and be crying in an hour, right? It's their emotions fluctuate like the wind, and a lot of that is because of their high estrogen levels. They can't control that. Okay, so you trying to make her happy is never going to work out for you because they're never truly happy. So you've got to be indifferent to her emotional storms. Okay. So a calm, indifferent response to emotional turbulence increases a woman's respect for a man, right? She's on an emotional roller coaster. She doesn't want you to get on the emotional roller coaster with her. She wants to know that someone has their feet on the ground. That's you. That's your job as a man. That's your job. Okay. So, predictability and emotional volatility kill attraction, while controlled confidence fuels it, right? And if it really is as simple as this, right? Women are security seeking creatures that respond to strength. Just remember that. Keep that in your head. Women are security seeking creatures that respond to strength. If you could do that, then it doesn't matter what her emotions are, okay? Because you're staying strong, you're staying centered, you're maintaining frame. And that by itself will be the closest thing you could ever get to a woman being happy. Because she's going to feel safe and secure in the relationship. You're going to be strong, and she's going to be attracted to that strength. Okay. Setting and enforcing emotional boundaries. Boundaries are paramount. Having boundaries and enforcing boundaries is an essential skill if you're going to be in a long-term relationship. And the thing is once you learn how to set boundaries in your romantic life, you can set and enforce boundaries in your personal life and your professional life. All right. I have one of my clients, me showing him how to set boundaries and enforce boundaries and use proper language to enforce those boundaries has actually helped him way more in his professional life through this whole program that we've been going through than necessarily his wife. But he did recognize, like, his wife responds very well to the boundaries, but it's almost like second nature now for him, right? But one area that he realized, hey, I need to set more boundaries in my personal life is with his mother-in-law. His mother-in-law will do things and he'll feel guilty for telling her no, and he doesn't want to make his wife mad. And so he's like, oh, I realize I need to do that in that area too. But at work, he's able to tell people, hey, that's not my job. That's this team's job, right? And instead of just doing whatever to make everybody happy, he's not doing that anymore. And the thing is that it's getting him more respect at work. He's getting promoted, like all this kind of stuff. It's fascinating to watch. And that's why at the beginning of the show, I say, I help men level up and get better with women, but the skills it takes to get better with women helps you in all areas of your life. Like this guy's carrying this over to his professional life, and it's helping him. And then other areas of his personal life with his mother-in-law and stuff like that. You see, it helps you in all areas of your life. So being able to learn how to set and enforce boundaries is paramount. And what you'll find is that when you stop letting people walk all over you, and you stop trying to make everybody happy, and you're not afraid to tell people no when you need to, like, you have more peace of mind, right? You have better control of your life. You have better control of your time. You have better control of your emotions. And a lot of guys, they always talk about how I want a woman to bring me peace. And I often say a woman will never bring you peace. Okay. Learning these types of skills, you'll control your own peace. You understand? Like, once you learn how to do this stuff, once you learn how to have mental frame, you'll realize that peace and happiness comes from within, and you have full control over that at all times. It doesn't matter what other people are doing. And some of these skills will help you maintain that peace, right? Boundaries is a skill that will help you with that. So emotional boundaries, they protect a man from being overly influenced by external chaos, right? That's why I say, like, once you learn how to do this, you control your own peace. Right? It doesn't matter what all this chaos is, because you're setting boundaries up that protect you from that, right? Boundaries are for you, not for them. Okay. A strong man offers emotional support without absorbing his wife's emotional fluctuations. So this is where I say, like, don't climb up on her emotional roller coaster. You don't have to get into the feels with her. You don't have to agree with the things that she's feeling about. Just recognize that her feelings are her feelings. Like for her, that's reality. Even if it's absurd to you, for her, that's absolutely real. So just acknowledge it. Just be like, yeah, I understand how you might feel that way. You know what I mean? And she just wants you to listen. She doesn't want you to solve her problems. That's a hard thing for guys because we're problem solvers. We're natural problem solvers, right? Consistently enforcing emotional boundaries reinforces a man's leadership and self-respect. And this is why it's important to stay consistent with it. Because once she's able to push past one of your boundaries, when she's able to like break one of your boundaries and there's no consequence for it, the more she'll keep doing it. And then until she finally is just like, this guy's boundaries are a fucking joke. And then she has no respect for you and she walks all over you. And this is where like Ryan Stone's article comes in handy, where it talks about if she's not fucking you, forget about leading, right? Shut the fuck up about leading, because you're not leading and you haven't been leading this whole time, and she's lost respect for you. So now when you try to lead, she's going to laugh at you because you haven't been able to set and enforce these boundaries. Okay. But you do have to start somewhere, right? You do have to start somewhere. You got to start turning the ship around somehow. So how do you do that? Well, you've learned how to say no. You learn how to set boundaries. You learn how to enforce boundaries. You learn how to use tools like broken record, and you start applying them in little areas, right? And you start setting the tone and leading in different areas. Start making decisions without asking her permission. Like when she gets mad about it, you just say, oh, I see you're upset about it, but we're still doing it this way, right? And then you use broken record and you use all those tools until she finally stops testing you because she realizes, okay, no, this guy's actually stepping up and leading. You know what I mean? But at first, she's not going to respect any of it. She's going to want to keep pushing those boundaries. She's going to still want to, disrespect you and all that kind of stuff because she doesn't respect you. So it's much better to do this from the beginning and be consistent with it than to have to like let it erode over time and then try to turn things around. It's the same thing as teenagers, right? If you are a good dad and you're hard on your kids early when they're younger and you're beating asses when they're like 3 and 4, by the time they're teenagers, they're disciplined and they're not getting into trouble, right? But if you've like played with them and just let them walk all over you their entire lives, and then now you're trying to wrangle them back in as teenagers, like they're just gonna slip through your fingers and do whatever the fuck they want. Like I know I was that teenager. My kids are much better kids than I was. I'll tell you that, man. And that's because I was a fucking asshole when they were younger. But now that they're teenagers, like we got a really good relationship. It's good. All right. Avoiding reactive behavior in conflict. We talked a little bit about this, right? Emotional outbursts during arguments weaken a man's frame and position. As soon as you blow up at her and light her up because of something she's doing or saying, that's the moment her hindbrain goes, he failed. He just failed the test. I was able to get under his skin. I was able to piss him off. I was able to push his buttons, and he had no control over that. Now I can manipulate him, right? As soon as she's able to do that, she starts losing that respect for you, right? And the more that happens over time, the less and less she respects you, the less and less she loves you. She stops putting out, like all that kind of stuff. It's a slow erosion over time, okay? And it really does start with you not being able to handle her shit tests. That's where it starts. Okay. So remember, you want to take a deep breath. If you find you're aware of the situation, you're staying sort of in the present moment. You're not just trying to think of the next thing to say because you like arguing with people. Just stay present in the moment, take a deep breath, pause before engaging. That's going to help you not escalate the situation, not throw gasoline on the fire. Right? And then you can appear, even if you are a little bit shaken, right? Like we're not robots. We're not emotional robots. Like women know over time what pisses us off. You're probably going to still get pissed off. It's just, how do you express that, right? So if you remain visibly unshaken in disagreements, that showcases confidence and emotional strength, okay? The first several times you practice this, it's going to be hard as fuck. It's going to be hard. And you're going to want to lay into her. That's going to be your gut instinct. That's going to be your knee-jerk reaction. And the more you just go, nope, like in your head, nope, I'm not falling into her frame, right? The more you stay calm, the more she's going to go, geez, nothing rattles this guy anymore. Like, what's going on? What's he doing? Is he out in the woods meditating? Like, what's he what's he doing? Right? She's going to start, okay, all right, I see you. All right. Like, he's not getting mad anymore. That's going to make her feel more safe and secure. She's going to start testing you less over time. Right. But the first time you start doing that, she's not going to necessarily believe that's the real you. And she's going to test you more, and you just got to be ready for it. Okay. Managing external stress without losing frame. So this is a big thing. I heard Paul Benjamin talk about this the other day on his show too. Paul's been putting out really good, like short 30-minute videos lately. And I learn a lot from Paul Benjamin of Apex Mindset. If you guys aren't subscribed to him, definitely check him out. But one of the things I talk about in my book is compartmentalizing stress from work and like your finances, compartmentalizing that stuff, and don't bring it into the relationship. Okay. You're the leader. And even though you're worried about how you're going to pay your bills, how you're going to, whatever, work sucks. Everyone's riding your ass at work and you're stressed out about that. Don't come and dump that on your wife or your girl. Okay. You compartmentalize that, shield her from that. Right? Think of like Scarface or any kind of gangster movie where the mob doesn't talk about mob business in front of their wives. Right. And then when their wives ask them about their business, they're like, I told you never ask about the business. I told you never, right? Because they're compartmentalizing it because it's a criminal activity and they don't want to implicate their wives. Right. Well, think of it similarly. You don't want to bring that kind of stress and dump it on your girl. That's not like your job as the man is to bear the burden of this type of stuff. You're the leader. Okay. And you can handle it. You're a strong masculine dude that can handle life's shit. Okay. She's not. She is a woman, and women are emotional. And if you bring your problems to her, and you're just like trauma dump on her about all your problems, she's going to start losing respect for you over time. You know what I mean? That's not her job. It's not. So just compartmentalize that stuff. Don't bring that shit home. Okay. And you're going to get along much better if you can just leave work at the door. And sometimes it's hard, man. It's hard. Like if you have a career like I've had in IT where it's 24/7, IT work is 24/7 because people access the internet 24 hours a day. And so servers and systems have to be running 24/7. It's really hard to compartmentalize that because if an outage happens at 3 a.m, like you gotta get out of bed and go take care of it. If you're in the middle of banging your girl out at 11:45 and you get an alert on your phone and you're on call, like you gotta stop banging her and go take care of the server that's down. You know what I mean? So it's really hard to compartmentalize that stuff. But as long as you don't make it her problem, as long as you're like, yeah, I got everything under control at work. Like best thing to say if she's like, hey, how are things at work, is to say, oh yeah, everything's great. Right? Compartmentalize that shit. Okay. Don't bring it home. You'll have a much happier marriage. You'll have a much happier relationship. Handling challenges calmly reassures a woman that she's with a strong, stable man, right? She has the perception, and everything is about how she feels. Okay. It doesn't matter if it's real or not. Okay. Women don't deal in reality. And like I said, perception is reality, right? We all, like, my idea of reality is not her idea of reality. And a lot of her idea of reality is driven by her emotions and how she feels in the moment. Okay. So the world could be crashing down around you at work, with your finances, all that kind of stuff. But if you don't show that to her, if you compartmentalize that, you're handling those challenges with what appears to be durability, emotional durability, she's going to feel that she's with a strong, stable man that can handle life's challenges, and she's going to feel safe and secure in the relationship, and everything's hunky-dory for her. You know what I mean? Developing, and that's a big problem too. Like a lot of guys, like they lose their job, they get sick or whatever. They don't do that, right? They make their problems, their girls' problems, and they have a woe is me attitude, and they basically give up on themselves. Like women like lose attraction to guys that way very quickly. That's why women tend to leave when life gets tough. It's because guys give up on themselves. I have a working hypothesis on that. Developing personal rituals, exercise, meditation, hobbies, all those things can help maintain emotional balance. Okay. Especially exercise, right? Strong body actually does create a strong mind, gives you more confidence, all that kind of stuff. Meditation, any type of visualization, any stuff for anything for your mental health, that's going to be good at developing emotional durability and resilience. One of the exercises I do every morning is I do scripting exercises. I like to, like this morning, for instance, I write out a whole story about my life in the future and how I want it to be. And that's very therapeutic for me because, and it's fun because it's like, I'm using my imagination. I'm visualizing, I'm imagining like what it's like being like that. And that kind of stuff is like, it's very similar to meditation and all that kind of stuff. It's really good for your mind. And then hobby is just, it gives you something to do. It takes your mind off things, gives you like a purpose outside of work and your relationship. And that'll let you, handle stress a lot better too, consistency and emotional leadership. So a man's ability to stay steady under pressure determines long-term respect and attraction. We've talked a lot about that. Women instinctively lose faith in a man who is emotionally unpredictable or reactive. We've talked a lot about that. And a leader maintains emotional control every day, not just in isolated situations. And it's not always easy. All right. But just like anything else in life, the more you practice at it, the more you work at it, the easier it gets because it becomes a habit, becomes part of who you are. Okay. And everything in this book, you want to make it a habit. You want it to seep into that subconscious. You want to reprogram your paradigm to live this type of lifestyle if you want to have success in long-term relationships. Okay. If you just want to spin plates the rest of your life, like you don't have to do all that kind of work. Okay. But most guys, I think, do eventually want to have a long-term relationship of some sort, right? The connection between emotional strength and masculine presence. So this is the last concept here, but women are biologically wired to seek emotionally strong men for security and stability. We've talked a lot about that. And a man's ability to lead emotionally translates to maintaining dominance in the relationship. Because if a guy can lead emotionally, lead from a position of dominance and masculinity and confidence and assertiveness, like all the traits, that you would say are masculine traits or masculine energy. If he can do that, it naturally allows her to relax into her feminine and be more receptive and more nurturing. And it's more of a natural place for her to be in. And she's going to feel like, oh, this is so nice. I don't have to make decisions. I don't know. I don't even know why, because a lot of it is her programming, right? So if you can do all that kind of stuff, if you could be that kind of guy for her, she's going to be like, man, no other guy's ever done this. He's my best possible option, right? Now you're using hypergamy to your advantage. Okay. And then strength and emotional control makes a man irreplaceable in a long-term relationship because most men can't handle this shit. Most men don't have these skills. Men aren't taught these skills. Think about that. Like all of us have learned our relationships from our parents. And a vast majority of people these days, their parents don't have that great relationships if their parents are together at all. Right? My parents are still together, but that's more because like they won't quit on each other, but like they're miserable. Like they've been miserable for years, but they're coming up on their 50th wedding anniversary. That's why like longevity in a relationship isn't necessarily a flex, right? Just because people have been together for a long time doesn't mean that they're happy. There's plenty of guys that book calls with me that have been married for 30 years, but their wife hasn't banged them in 10 or 15. You know what I mean? Like that's not a happy marriage just because you've been together that long. That's not success. Okay. But right. And then everything is everyone's so quick to get divorced these days too. Everyone's so quick to give up on each other. But a woman's less likely to want to give up on you, to trade up, to find a better guy if you have really good emotional control, emotional durability, because a vast majority of guys just haven't honed that, right? Most guys haven't learned how to do that. Now, there's some guys that are naturals that are really good at this sort of thing, and they don't even know why. It's probably because if you look at like his dad was like an emotional rock, right? Like he was that guy, and he learned that from his dad, right? But most of us, we have nice guy fathers, and so we were all trained to be nice guys, right? Or we were raised by single moms and we're trained to be nice guys. If you're and that's a majority of guys nowadays, right? Majority of guys don't have these skills. And so if you can learn these skills and apply these in your relationships, she's going to look at you like, she's going to look around. Is there any better option? Nope. This is the guy. And that's going to keep her wanting to invest in you. That's Breifeld's law, right? That's hypergamy, all that kind of stuff. And you're using it to your advantage when you become the guy that's irreplaceable. Got it? All right, cool. What do we got here? Oh, hey, look, we have a super chat. CW with a $2 super chat. He says, so giddy for super chats, Paul. Huh, Paul? Yes. I need super chats because that keeps the lights on, brother. He's a beer club brother. So normally if you send anything less than $10, you get the audio. But since he's a beer club brother, he gets bumped up to a $10 super chat. So I'm going to give him the shaking booty video. No, I'm going to give him the bouncing bubs video and demonetize.
Thank you for the super chats. Boobies bouncing, can't stop that. From the east to the west, you are the best. Keep those chats coming in, let's do it all again.
Ooh, what's going on? Oh, hey, Chad Elkins, CPA, is in the house. What does he say? He might get in a beer club? Is that what I'm seeing here? Hold on. We've got a whole bunch of comments here, but I can't see them. They're not super chats. That's weird. That's so weird. Yes, Chad Elkins says he may just join beer club. That would be cool. If you guys didn't know, Chad worked with Aaron Clary, and they have a course on Teachable called The Greatest Accounting Career Ever or something like that. And it teaches you all how to be a public accountant and how to work remotely and set your own hours and all that kind of stuff. If you want to escape the rat race and you're good with numbers, you might actually like that course. You can search for Aaron Clary on Teachable and find that. I have an affiliate link for Clary's stuff. I just don't have that handy, so I don't care. I'm going to try to finish up his book. I'm reading Zero World Problems, and I'm almost done with it. I'm going to try to do an impromptu live stream tomorrow night to go over it if I finish it. And I'm going to tell you guys the 5 things I hate about that fucking book. All right, guys, that's all I got for this episode. Tune into the podcast on Friday. We are going to be talking more about frame control since it will be Frame Friday. We are done going over AJ's book, so we're going to be going off the cuff a little bit. We will be answering the question, how to improve masculine frame in relationships. And I've already started writing out the show notes for it, so it should actually be a pretty good episode. And if that's something that you have a hard time, we were basically talking about it today. But if you have a hard time with that, working on or keeping mental frame and emotional control and stuff like that in a relationship dynamic, tune into Friday's episode. Okay. Other than that, guys, do be sure to like, subscribe, hit those notifications. I do have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday without fail. I am going to start doing TikTok lives in the morning on Tuesdays. And guys, thank you for sounding off in the chat today. I appreciate you. Thanks for the super chat, CW. You're a good dude. That helps, pay the bills a little bit. Follow me on social media. The links are in the description. If you guys want to get on the TikTok lives and chat with me or whatever, that should be happening roughly on Tuesdays and Thursdays around 10 a.m. Eastern, around the same time as the podcast. So if you guys want to get in there and ask me questions, that'll be good for you. Get on the email list, list.comeonmanpod.com. Get the free ebook, She's Made You Weak. Get the book that we talked about today, Get Her to Fuck You Again, as well as my other books at books.comeonmanpod.com. get in Beer Club, Chad Elkins. Go to beer.comeonmanpod.com and get in there and hang out with a bunch of like-minded guys. And then if you want to work with me directly, book a free call by going to call.fixdeadbedrooms.com. Oh, shit. We have another super chat. Alex Patino, $5. Respect the cock. Tame the cunt. Okay, that's what he wants. He gets this one. Let's see here.
Respect the cock and tame the cunt.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for that, Alex. Appreciate you, man. All right, guys. That's all we got. We will see you on, where the hell is it? We will see you guys on Friday.
This has been the Come On Man podcast. Now, go out and get it.